Is Mascherano a fraud or the mastermind behind the MLS's most ambitious plan? The image is clear, two profiles facing each other, Messi and El Jefecito, carrying the weight of a pact that transcends football. While social media burns with criticism toward the Argentine coach, a secret plan operates in the shadows of Fort Lauderdale, and what you are about to hear appears in no official statement. In this video, you will discover three things. First, why the criticisms of Mascherano hide the true strategy behind his arrival. Second, how every controversial decision by El Jefecito is designed to extend Messi's career until the 2026 World Cup. And finally, the revelation that changes everything you thought you knew about this alliance. Stay until the end of the video, and you will understand the reason for it all. There is something here that nobody is saying. Mascherano did not arrive at Inter Miami to prove he is a great coach. He arrived to fulfill a mission signed in blood across 1,000 shared battles with Leo. It is a mission that began long before he accepted that contract through 2027. We go back to the exact moment David Beckham and Jorge Mas met to decide the team's technical future after conquering the MLS Cup. The 2024 season has just closed with the image of Messi lifting the trophy, but in the offices of Chase Stadium, there is a question no one dares to ask aloud. How much longer can Leo maintain this pace? The Argentine has just turned 37 years old. His body has spent over 2 decades absorbing hits, travel, finals, and media pressure. Internal medical data does not lie. Every 90 minutes on his legs is equivalent to 120 for any other player his age. The wear is exponential. This is where the board makes a decision many would label as nepotism. Instead of hiring a coach with experience in European leagues or a headline-generating name, they choose Javier Mascherano, a guy who led the Argentina U-20 national team and then disappeared from the media radar. The official reason? He knows the idiosyncrasies of the Argentine locker room. The real reason? He is the only man on the planet who understands Messi without needing words. Mascherano does not come to teach. He comes to protect. Think about this. For 14 years, from the youth categories of the Albiceleste to the World Cup final in Brazil, Mascherano was Leo's human shield. Literally. There is an unofficial statistic circulating among analysts. In every important Argentina match between 2006 and 2018, El Jefecito covered an average of nearly 15 kilometers, while Messi hovered around 9. Coincidence? No. Design. Mascherano understood before anyone else that his role was not to shine, but to ensure Leo could shine without burning out. Now he will apply the same philosophy, but from the bench. Mascherano's first week in command generates more doubts than certainties. Training sessions change radically. Goodbye to intense double sessions. In come fractional work, asymmetric loads, and strategic rest. Naturally, the media pounces. Mascherano is being soft. He lacks character. He doesn't have the experience for a locker room with egos. But no one asks the obvious. Why would a guy who once cracked his head open and kept playing suddenly seem obsessed with recovery? Because there is a plan. A plan that is not explained in press conferences but is executed with surgical precision every week. The first sign arrives when Mascherano implements a controversial rotation system. Messi does not play the full 90 minutes in regular league matches considered minor. He goes off at the 70th, 65th, or even 58th minute in a match against a mid-table team. The reactions are immediate. Fans boo, social networks explode, and analysts question if the coach understands that people pay for tickets to see the number 10. But wait, because what nobody connected was the hidden calendar. Inter Miami has commitments in 3 competitions: MLS, Leagues Cup, and the CONCACAF Champions Cup. There are over 40 potential matches in 9 months. If Messi played everything, he would reach mid-season with destroyed legs. Mascherano knows this because he lived it. So he does something unpopular but brilliant. He sacrifices points in the regular league to arrive fresh for the decisive phases. In the process, he ignites a media smokescreen that diverts attention from the true objective, the 2026 World Cup. There lies the masterstroke. Mascherano is not managing a season. He is managing 2.5 years. His contract ends in 2027, 6 months after the World Cup. Coincidence? Impossible. The Inter Miami board and the AFA coordinated this in silence. The mission is clear: keep Messi competitive, motivated, and physically viable to reach his last World Cup dance. For that, they need Leo not to burn out in the MLS. To reach June 2026 at 39 years old, yes, but with the legs of a 35-year-old. This involves painful decisions. And it is here where Mascherano absorbs the hate like a professional. At the beginning of the new season, the club announces the departure of Fafa Picault, a forward who provided goals but demanded minutes. Weeks later, goalkeeper William Yarbrough also leaves the team. The media reads it as a squad clear-out. The reality is locker room re-engineering. Mascherano needs young players who will run for Messi, not veterans competing for the spotlight. He needs hungry footballers who accept that their role is to facilitate, not to shine. This hurts, generates resentment, and creates negative headlines. But El Jefecito has been through this before. He knows external noise doesn't matter if the internal objective is clear. If you like this type of analysis that goes beyond the headlines, leave me a comment telling me what other Inter-Miami topic you want me to investigate like this. It helps me a lot to know what content interests you. Now comes the twist almost no one anticipated. While Mascherano builds this protection system, an element appears that no one had considered: Messi's own mentality. Leo is not a player who easily accepts being looked after. For 20 years, his identity was to play everything, to always be available, and never complain about fatigue. Asking him to rest is like asking him to betray his nature. So Mascherano uses the only card that can work: friendship. There is a scene that was not televised but which several members of the coaching staff witnessed. It occurs in the video room at Chase Stadium, days after a match where Messi insisted on playing 90 minutes despite a minor muscular discomfort. Mascherano closes the door, turns off the lights, and instead of showing tactical plays, projects clips of finals they played together. The U20 World Cup final in the Netherlands, where both won the title as children. The match against Belgium in Brazil 2014, where Mascherano made that legendary tackle that saved their pass to the semi-finals. The finalissima against Italy in 2022, the last time they shared a locker room. Then, without raising his voice, El Jefecito tells him something that breaks all resistance. "Leo, let me take care of you this time. You carried me to win everything. Now it's my turn to carry you to the last 1 inch. That is the invisible pact. The one that does not appear in contracts or press conferences." Mascherano does not appeal to sports logic or numbers. He appeals to shared memory, to the trenches traveled together, and to the emotional debt of 14 years of covering his back. And it works. From that moment on, Messi accepts the rotations without protest. He understands it is not weakness, but strategy, that leaving at the 65th minute today means arriving whole for the 90th minute of a World Cup final tomorrow. But this is where the story gets serious. The easy version says Mascherano is a mediocre coach saved by the quality of his squad. That anyone can win with Messi, Busquets, and Jordi Alba on the team. That his only merit is friendship. That is the narrative that sells, the one that generates clicks and feeds social media debates. It is simple, it is comfortable, and it is completely false. The reality is that Mascherano is executing one of the most complex management tasks in modern football. He is not managing a team. He is managing an ecosystem. He has to balance the expectations of a league that sold the MLS season pass promising Messi every match day. He has to manage the egos of footballers who arrived at Inter-Miami thinking they would be protagonists and are now secondary. He has to deal with media pressure that turns every defeat into an existential crisis. Above all, he has to keep the best player in history motivated. Someone who has already won everything and could fall into apathy at any moment. How does he do it? With invisible micro-decisions that never appear in statistics. Every training session is designed not just to improve performance, but to maintain hunger. Mascherano knows Messi gets bored easily with routines, so he varies the exercises every 3 days. He introduces absurd technical challenges, 11 against 11 matches where a goal only counts if scored on the first touch, or rondos where the player in the middle can use their hands. Nonsense that looks like school recess but keeps the spark lit. A bored Messi is a Messi who starts thinking about retirement, and that cannot happen until after 2026. There is also a brutal management of minutes that few coaches would dare to implement. Mascherano divides the season into loading and unloading cycles. 3 weeks of high intensity followed by one of active recovery. During heavy weeks, Messi plays full matches. During the unloading week, barely 60 minutes. This generates an irregular pattern that confuses rivals. They never know if they will face a fresh Messi or one in management mode. Above all, it creates an invisible advantage. While other teams accumulate linear fatigue during the season, Inter Miami reaches the playoffs with physical reserves no one else has. Then there is the locker room. Mascherano inherited a group with 4 natural captains: Messi, Busquets, Jordi Alba, and Sergio Gomez, footballers used to leading. In any other context, this would be a time bomb, for leaders are 3 too many. But El Jefecito applies an emotional hierarchy he learned at Barcelona. He does not name an official captain. Instead, he rotates the armband every match based on context. If playing against a physical team, he gives it to Busquets. If it's a high-speed match, to Wiegand. If they need magic, Messi wears it. This makes everyone feel responsible without anyone feeling excluded. It is basic psychology, applied with a precision only someone who lived through 1,000 locker rooms can execute. Does this mean Mascherano is a tactical genius on the level of Guardiola or Ancelotti? No. His 4-3-3 is functional but predictable. His substitutions rarely surprise. In matches where Inter Miami needs a comeback, he sometimes runs out of ideas. But here is what nobody wants to admit: he wasn't hired for that. He was hired to be the emotional and physical manager of a project with a clear expiration date. And in that, he is being impeccable. There is one match that sums it all up. It happens mid-season against a direct rival for the top spots. Inter Miami is winning 2-0 in the 60th minute. Mascherano looks at the bench, looks at Messi, and makes the signal. Leo leaves. The stadium fills with murmurs. 10 minutes later, the rival scores 2-1. Tension grows. In the 85th minute, another rival goal, 2-2. The draw feels like a defeat. Commentators destroy Mascherano. He took Messi out too early, he lacked character, he lost 2 vital points. But no one mentions that 3 days later there is a CONCACAF match. No one mentions that Messi had a minor strain in his left soleus. No one mentions that the opposing team was already eliminated from the playoffs and playing without pressure, while Inter Miami was saving themselves for what truly mattered. El Jefecito does not come out to defend himself. He gives no explanations in press conferences. He simply says, "We make decisions thinking about the long term." That phrase summarizes the entire project. Mascherano is not playing the weekly match. He is playing a 2.5-year chess game where every move has consequences 3 months later. The powerful thing is that this is only just beginning. While critics focus on immediate results, a pattern is being built in silence. Look at the numbers. Since Mascherano took charge, Messi's total minutes per month have decreased by nearly 20% compared to the previous management. But his effectiveness per 90 minutes played has increased. Less time on the field, more impact when he is there. That doesn't happen by chance. It is the consequence of arriving fresher to every match, having less heavy legs, and being able to explode in key moments instead of managing throughout 90 minutes. There is also a physical re-engineering that goes unseen. Inter Miami incorporated advanced GPS technology that measures not just kilometers covered, but accelerations, decelerations, and changes of direction. The data is cross-referenced with analysis of sleep, nutrition, and even mood. Everything is centralized in a dashboard that Mascherano reviews every morning. Based on those numbers, he adjusts training to the millimeter. If Messi slept poorly, that day features only technical exercises without load. If he is in the green zone, more is demanded. It is absolute personalization, which sounds obvious but few teams execute with this rigor. Finally, there is the tactical aspect that does work, the construction of a team that compensates for the physical limitations of the veterans. Mascherano signed players like Marcelo Wiegand and Yannick Bright specifically because they have the capacity to run for 2. His 4-3-3 is actually a 4-5-1 defensive setup where Messi defends almost nothing. Leo stays up, walks during defensive transitions, and saves energy. When Inter Miami recovers the ball, 2 young midfielders explode in speed down the wings while Busquets launches the pass. It is a system designed so that Messi only has to do what no one else can: finish. There is another layer few analyze: the management of team identity. Inter Miami could have become a showcase franchise, an exhibition team where entertainment is paramount. Mascherano refused. He implemented a brutal culture of internal competition. Training sessions are closed, but it has transpired that El Jefecito set up a system of internal rankings where each player accumulates points based on practice performance. The bottom three each week must do extra work. It sounds harsh, but it generates something fundamental. It prevents young players from relaxing just because they play alongside Messi. It maintains hunger, and that is what separates a team of retired legends from a competitive team with active legends. There is also the matter of managing external expectations. The MLS needs Inter Miami to be a protagonist because it sold a global narrative. But Mascherano knows that promising titles every season is the fastest path to failure. So he plays a perfect double discourse. Outwardly, conservative messages, we go step by step, we respect all rivals. Inwardly, maximum demand. This lowers media pressure while maintaining locker room intensity. It is textbook psychological manipulation. And now, just when you think you understand the entire system, the most important element of all appears. This plan has a silent enemy that can destroy everything at any moment: Messi's body. No matter how much they care for him, rotate him, or optimize his load, at 37 years old, nearly 38, the risk of a catastrophic injury is always one play away. A hard tackle, a bad turn, an uneven surface, and the whole project collapses. It is the variable Mascherano cannot control, the one that wakes him up at 3 in the morning, the one that makes every match a gamble. But there is a silent factor that explains the impossible, and it is about to be revealed in the second half of this story. However, there is something even Mascherano cannot fully control: biology. Therein lies the true genius of the plan, recognizing that invisible frontier. You can manage minutes, rotate players, and optimize training loads, but you cannot rewrite genetics. The body of a footballer nearly 38 years old has its own laws, and the most implacable is recovery. While a 22-year-old regenerates muscle fibers in 48 hours, someone Messi's age needs between 72 and 96. It is pure mathematics. Thus, Mascherano does something no active coach would dare. He builds the season calendar backward. Instead of planning match by match, he first marks the final objectives: CONCACAF semifinals, MLS playoffs, and FIFA windows for the Argentine national team. From there, he works backward, calculating exactly how many days of rest Messi needs between each critical commitment. The result is a ghost calendar known only to the coaching staff, where matches are marked as expendable months before they are played. It sounds brutal, but it is the only way the plan works. This generates immediate consequences. There is a regular league match against a mid-table rival where Mascherano presents a lineup with 7 changes from the usual starting 11. Messi does not even travel with the team. The official justification is load management. The real reason is that 4 days later there is a CONCACAF Champions Cup match worth direct qualification, and 2 weeks later a FIFA window begins with the Argentine national team. El Jefecito is prioritizing 6 moves in advance. Inter Miami loses that expendable match 1-0. The media is in an uproar, but Mascherano does not flinch. But here comes the detail that completely changes the reading of the match. During that game Messi did not play, the team collectively ran more than 110 kilometers. The young substitutes exploded physically because they knew it was their chance to prove themselves. Mascherano recorded every minute, every effort, and every sprint. He wasn't just looking after Leo, he was auditing who deserves to stay on the squad for next season. 2 weeks later, one of those young players who ran like possessed, Cesar Abadiarita, receives a new contract. It is no coincidence, and now you will see why. Building that young team that runs for Messi is not sports philanthropy, it is tactical survival. Mascherano knows that if the system depends exclusively on 3 or 4 figures, the day one is injured, everything collapses. So he designs a pyramid of effort. At the base, 23 footballers who absorb physical wear. In the middle, experienced players who organize. At the top, Messi, who only executes. It is a functional hierarchy where each layer has a specific purpose, and where the genius does not run more than necessary because there are 10 players designed so that he doesn't have to. There is also the psychological factor no one mentions. Messi has spent 20 years being responsible for everything: creating, finishing, and saving teams in crisis. That mental load is as exhausting as the physical one. Mascherano understands this because he lived it from the inside. So he implements something revolutionary: tactical meetings where Leo hardly speaks. El Jefecito makes all the strategic decisions, assumes all media pressure, and absorbs all criticism. When they step onto the field, Messi only has to play. without thinking about systems, without carrying verbal leadership responsibilities, and without wearing himself out mentally. It is an invisible liberation that translates into freshness on the grass. Just when you think the system is perfect, the human element that can destroy it appears: the ego. No matter how much friendship there is, Mascherano is the coach and Messi is the player. Sooner or later, that dynamic generates friction. It happens during a tense match where Inter Miami is losing and Messi wants to stay the full 90 minutes to attempt a comeback. Mascherano, faithful to his plan, orders the substitution in the 75th minute. Leo walks slowly toward the bench, visibly frustrated. Cameras capture the moment, and commentators speculate about a rift in the relationship. But what no one sees is what happens later in the locker room. Mascherano waits for everyone to leave, closes the door, and says something to Messi that summarizes the entire project. "I know it hurts to come off when you want to win. But I'd rather you hate me today than break tomorrow." After a few seconds of silence, Leo nods. Deep down, he knows it is true. That confrontation, far from breaking the relationship, reinforces it. It establishes a clear limit. Mascherano will not betray the plan even to please the best player in the world. That firmness, paradoxically, is what makes Messi trust him even more. If this analysis is giving you a different perspective on Inter Miami, subscribe because even deeper stories about this team are coming. Now, the easy version says this is all simply friendship. That Mascherano is there because he is Messi's friend, period. That any coach with access to the number 10 could do the same. That there is no real merit, only personal loyalty. It is a comfortable narrative that simplifies something infinitely more complex. It reduces a 2.5-year technical operation to a favor between friends. The reality is that friendship is the tool, not the objective. Mascherano uses the trust accumulated over 14 years of shared locker rooms to implement decisions no other coach could execute without causing a mutiny. How many coaches can take Messi out in the 60th minute without an institutional crisis? How many can tell him he isn't playing a match without giving public explanations? Friendship gives Mascherano an emotional credit that he translates into technical authority. No one else on the planet has that. Furthermore, there is hidden coordination with the Argentine national team. Mascherano holds weekly conversations with the Albiceleste coaching staff. They exchange GPS data, medical reports, and load analysis. The goal is to synchronize Messi's management between club and country so there are no contradictions. If Argentina has an important match in a FIFA window, Inter Miami reduces his minutes in the 2 preceding weeks. If there is a break with no national team commitments, the club increases the load. It is a binational choreography that requires absolute trust between coaching staffs. It works because Mascherano speaks the same language as the Argentine fitness coaches, literally and figuratively. There is also environmental management that is rarely mentioned. Inter Miami plays in Florida, a state with extreme heat and brutal humidity for much of the year. This multiplies physical wear. Mascherano implemented personalized hydration protocols, adjustments to training schedules to avoid peak heat hours, and even changes to the squad's diet to optimize recovery in humid environments. These are microscopic details that don't make headlines but create cumulative differences. A 37-year-old player loses fluids faster than a young one, and inadequate recovery affects performance 3 days later. So that's it, right? No. Because there is one factor Mascherano identified that could be the most important of all: Messi's motivation. Not the motivation to win, that never left, but the motivation to keep playing. Leo has already won everything: leagues, champions, Ballons d'Or, World Cup, Copa America. At his age, with his fortune, he could retire tomorrow and no one would question him. So, what keeps him tied to the game? This is where Mascherano's plan reveals its deepest layer. El Jefecito understands that Messi does not play for money or fame. He plays because he loves football, yes, but above all because he needs to feel he still has something to prove. And the only proof left is the 2026 World Cup. That is the emotional fuel moving everything. But that fuel can run out if daily life becomes routine, if matches feel inconsequential, or if the MLS is perceived as a retirement league. So Mascherano builds an internal narrative that keeps the fire burning. He repeats to Messi that every match at Inter Miami is a step toward the World Cup. That every minute managed now is a minute available later. That every title with the club is a rehearsal for a title with the national team. He turns the MLS into an epic training ground, not a golden retirement. This changes everything, as it gives meaning to every decision, sacrifice, and rotation that generates criticism. There is also a psychological masterstroke Mascherano executed that almost no one detected. He signed hungry young Argentine players. Footballers like Tomás Aviles, who is 25 and dreams of being called up by the Albiceleste. Messi's presence at Inter Miami puts them on the radar of national team coaches. So these players don't just run for the team, they run to impress Leo, to show him they deserve to be at his level. This generates an internal competitive intensity that keeps the team sharp even in irrelevant matches. Mascherano sowed ambition around Messi so that the ambition of others keeps him motivated. There is also the matter of legacy. Messi is already the greatest in history for most, but he has the chance to close his career with something no other great achieved, winning on 3 different continents. He has titles in Europe with Barcelona, in South America with the Argentine national team, and now in North America with Inter Miami. If he manages to lead the team to an international club title, his career narrative becomes incredibly complete. Mascherano knows this and uses that motivation as an emotional anchor in moments of fatigue. But behind all this strategic construction, there is an uncomfortable truth that El Jefecito faces every night. Everything can collapse with a single injury. No matter how much you care, plan, or optimize, football has an irreducible element of chance. A hard tackle, an accidental stomp, a poorly maintained surface. And at 37, injuries are not the same as at 27. A strain becomes a tear, a blow becomes bone edema, and a sprain leads to surgery. Mascherano knows this because his career ended exactly for that reason. His body said, "Enough," before his mind accepted retirement. So he applies to Messi what he wished someone had applied to him: obsessive prevention. There is a physiotherapist assigned exclusively to Leo. Every muscle is monitored daily. Any discomfort, however minimal, is treated as an emergency. The criterion is, when in doubt, rest. This, again, generates criticism. Messi is too protected, they're afraid of everything, they treat him like he's made of glass. But Mascherano would prefer the criticism 1,000 times over a Leo injured for 6 months. And here is where everything finally makes sense. This plan is not about football. It is about time. Mascherano is buying time. Every match Messi doesn't play is a match his body doesn't suffer. Every minute he rests is a minute his muscle fibers regenerate. Every rotation that generates criticism is a bet that he will arrive fresh at the moment that truly matters. El Jefecito is playing against the biological clock, and his only weapon is strategic patience. Mascherano's contract until 2027 is no coincidence. It is exactly 6 months after the World Cup. This means that if Argentina goes far in the World Cup, Messi would finish his participation in July 2026. He would have a month of vacation, return to Inter Miami in August, play the final stretch of the MLS, and in December decide whether to continue or retire. Mascherano will be there to accompany that ending, to ensure that the last image of Leo is not an injury or a mediocre match, but a dignified farewell. That, too, is part of the plan. Finally, we come to the revelation that was hidden from the first second of this video. All these months we analyzed signings, tactics, rotations, and criticisms. We saw how Mascherano absorbs media hate, how he manages minutes with surgical precision, and how he builds a team around a 37-year-old genius. But the real reason for all this is not sporting, it is existential. Mascherano is not there to win titles with Inter Miami. He is there to ensure the world can enjoy Messi a little longer. Leo is not just a player. He is a phenomenon that occurs once a century. When he disappears, there will be no replacement. This isn't ego, it's statistics. No one has done what he did, and likely no one will in our lifetimes. So every additional month that Messi plays at a competitive level is a gift to football. Mascherano understands this. That is why he accepts being called a fraud. Why he endures the questioning of his technical ability. Why he makes unpopular decisions that damage his reputation. Because his mission is not to build a successful coaching resume. It is to prolong the magic. It is to buy time against biology. It is to make a 37-year-old body function like a 32-year-old one. And if he has to sacrifice his public image to achieve it, He does so without hesitation. There is a phrase Mascherano said in a conference that almost no one noted, but it summarizes everything. My job is not to teach Leo how to play. My job is so he can keep playing. That difference changes everything. He isn't a coach of technique. He is a manager of legacy. He isn't preparing the team. He is preserving a collective treasure. Even if it doesn't appear in statistics or generate spectacular headlines, that is worth more than any tactic. Because in the end, when Messi hangs up his boots and we look back, we won't remember if Mascherano was a great coach or not. We will remember he was the man who gave 2 more years to the best footballer in history. That he was the shield one last time. That he understood his role was not to shine, but to ensure another could shine until the end. In a world of oversized egos, that silent loyalty is the closest thing to real greatness. 2 old warriors from 1,000 battles, united one last time. Not to conquer Europe, but to conquer time. Even if they lost every match from now until the 2026 World Cup, if Messi reaches that event whole, Mascherano will have already won the only thing that matters. He will have fulfilled the pact they signed without words 14 years ago on a pitch in Barcelona, to watch each other's backs until the end. What comes now, in the next few months with Inter Miami, will define if that pact was enough.